It's Witness Wednesday, and this week, the treasure's been unlocked. What will you witness? Join us and see for yourself.
Sky is dripping gold and wrapping around me. Life can be so wonderful, warm and gentle light. Nothing's gonna bring me down, I'm feeling so divine. Life can be so wonderful, warm and gentle light. Nothing's gonna bring me down, I'm feeling so divine.
Feeling divine, I'm feeling the vibes. I feel like it's more than just a feeling, what we could define. Let's break through the ceiling, see what limits that we could defy. Cause I could do anything I want, it's for me to decide. Bring you up to speed, take the wheel, let you drive. It's alright on a dark road, let the fire in us be the light. Day and night, yeah, we only seem to free our mind at night. That's just life, that's just how we pay the price.
I woke up today feeling like royalty.
Shalom Yasharallah, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Barakatam. I'm the Nashaya Yaslan, and with me, I got the mighty Malak Enoch. And today, we'll be presenting Witness Wednesday number 10, Power Level. So the best way that I could understand how to explain a power level in this truth, the first thing that popped to my mind was Dragon Ball Z. For those that know of the anime, there are different power levels within that anime. There's very weak characters, and then there's very strong characters. And they come in a wide variety of strength, in a wide variety of power levels. And so we'll be discussing a little bit of that throughout the presentation. I'm using Dragon Ball Z to relate the best way that I possibly can to how I see power levels in this truth. And so before we go any further with it, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Tawada Abba, for allowing us to bring forth another beautiful Witness Wednesday. So with that being said, I want to go right into the presentation. We have a presentation that is full of imagery today. Hopefully you're able to, I know some people just listen in, but hopefully you're able to watch and see these visuals. We have GIFs, all of that. So hopefully you'll be able to watch the whole lesson and enjoy as if these Wednesdays really, if you noticed, they're around 30 minutes, 25 to 45 minutes. It's meant to be like an episode, you watching a TV show and really enjoying it, really looking forward to seeing the next episode. And so that's the purpose of these. We're on episode number 10. Today's episode is going to be on power level, and there's going to be a lot of Dragon Ball Z involved in it. And I know a lot of Israel is drawn towards this particular anime because a lot of us can relate to it. We see ourselves in the scriptures as very powerful individuals being the children of Israel. And so we see with the Saiyans, they are the same way. We can relate to the Saiyans on a level of power. So when I thought of power level, it made me think back on one of the episodes that I seen in Dragon Ball Z. And this was like very early on in the anime. And they used to use these scanners to scan somebody's power level, and it would tell them how powerful they would, so they'd be able to gauge somebody's power based off of what this scanner was able to read. And so, if you had a power level of 10, that's no big deal. You're not very strong. But if you had I remember it was a famous line, he had a power level over 9,000, and you can go look up over 9,000, and there's, I'm sure, plenty of memes that come along with that. And so at that time of the anime, over 9,000 was really strong. But as you carry on further on into the anime, they don't even use the scanners anymore to even determine the power levels anymore. But again, I'm not too familiar with the whole entire anime, but I used to watch it when I was younger, and this was something that popped up in my mind, so I wanted to be able to relate it. So if I speak anything that's falsely pertaining to the anime, then I'm not a diehard fan or anything like that. I enjoyed it when I was younger, and I definitely can see how we can relate it to power. So I wanted to do that. And we can see here we have Vegeta. He has a shocked face. And this is him seeing Goku's power and just being overwhelmed by it. And so, as the children of Israel, our forefathers, and even some of us today, have power that is overwhelming. Christ had an overwhelming power. Remember, there's an account where he walked up on them. Well, somebody was asking questions, and he presented himself. And when he presented himself, the people fell back down on the ground. That was his power exuding. His presence was so powerful, it knocked them over just by him presenting himself. And so we possess this power as the children of Israel, but on different levels. I want to explain Vegeta and Goku. They both have Saiyan blood. Their race is the Saiyans. That's their lineage. Just like I'm Israel and my lineage is Israelites, tracing back to the 12 tribes of Israel, we naturally have power within that. And so the same for the Saiyans. A Saiyan source of power is a combination of inherent natural energy, which grows stronger through combat and training, and a unique biological component called S cells that facilitates transformation into powerful forms like the Super Saiyan. And so we can see that they grew stronger through combat and through training, through experiences. And that's the same for us in this truth. We get put through trials and tribulations that strengthen us, that increase us in power. And the more that we train, the more experience we receive, the more we devote ourselves, we see that we start to wax mightier in the spirit. This power level is not just talking about the physical strength. It's talking about in many different aspects. So it's not just physical strength, spiritual strength, survivability, endurability, your mentality. There's so much that goes into your power level. And you can also think about it when you play a football game, there's stats, and the passing could be 99, but the running could be 30. And so it would be great for a quarterback to have 99 passing, but he's going to have a tough time if he only has 30 in running. He's going to be slow. You're not going to want to run with him. You're going to want to throw it all day long, but you're not going to want to run with him. And so he's not well balanced. He's good at one thing, but he's lacking in another area. And so for you to become really strong and increase your power level, you have to identify your weaknesses. You have to identify your weaknesses and make those strengths. And that's how overall you become strong. There's brothers that are very mighty in one aspect. They could pull book, chapter, verse all day long, 99 stat when it comes to that. But when it comes to actually applying it in reality, they have that 30 stat where they're not performing well. They have a lot of knowledge, but they're not able to apply it to their everyday life. They're not living it. And so we have to assess ourselves, and we can even assess others, like Vegeta assess others and say, man, this brother's mighty. But you can still see, but that brother's lacking here. And that's where we can help each other grow. We want to become that's what Kwame Yasharala is all about. Rise Israel. Bring that power level up. And so let's get into our very first scripture, because we see that the Saiyans are inherently, naturally strong and get stronger through training and through combat and through experience. And so we need to know where our power source comes from.
Judith chapter 9, verse 14. And make every nation and tribe to acknowledge that thou art the God of all power and might, and that there's none of other that protected the people of Israel but thou.
So we are going to let every other nation and tribe acknowledge that you are the God of all power and might. That's the Most High right there. He is the power source, and every nation and every tribe has to acknowledge that. That's first and foremost, acknowledging that. And if you can't, you're already setting a limit on how powerful you can be in this earth. Without the Most High, you cannot unlock the mysteries and your true potential. So think of a athlete. They could run as fast as they possibly want, but they're always gonna be lacking because they don't acknowledge the Most High. They're not gonna be able to reach their true potential because they are lacking the understanding of where their power comes from. It could be a descendant of Israel. He could be an Israelite. We know we're naturally just built powerful, just like the Saiyans. But if they fail to acknowledge the power source, which is the Most High, there's always going to be a limit on that person. Now, an Israelite in the truth that acknowledges the Most High as the power source, the sky's the limit. We can go and be as mighty as the Father will allow us to be. And so we're going to be bringing out some accounts later on to show how mighty our forefathers were. And I want to demonstrate through the scriptures that there are different levels. Brothers are on different levels. And we have to acknowledge that and pay respects to that.
Proverbs chapter 24, verse 5. A wise man is strong. Yeah, a man of knowledge increaseth strength.
A wise man is strong. A man of knowledge increases strength. It's not just about physical strength. Yes, that's a portion of it, but that's just the flesh. You have to have the spiritual knowledge to go with it, to match it, to pair with it. So if you're not wise in this word and wise with how you conduct yourself and be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove, you're not going to increase in power. You can increase in the flesh and the muscles and all of that, but what does that profit? This battle here on earth is beyond the flesh. So if you're only battling in the flesh, you can never get the victory. But one that acknowledges the Most High and understands that there is wisdom and knowledge in the scriptures, that's a man who is strong. That is a man who will increase in strength. And so just like the Saiyans get their strength increases through combat, through training, through experience, it's the same with us. We use the scriptures, we use the wisdom and knowledge within the scriptures to increase, to become stronger through our experiences. And so this is how we increase. Now, I wanted to show that even in the Saiyans, there are levels. Let me give you some examples. For a Saiyan, they can evolve, transform. Just like we go from glory to glory, we increase and increase and increase. A brother could start out as a soldier and then move on up, and boom, now he's an officer. And he did so mighty, now he's a captain. He did great there too, and now he's a deacon. And he put his time in there, and now he's a gamma, right? There's levels. A brother's waxing so mighty, he could raise up to be a bishop, but not everybody could raise up to be a bishop. Some brothers would be happy just to make it to the captain level. So for the Saiyans, the very first evolution would be Super Saiyan, and then it'd be Super Saiyan second grade, Super Saiyan third grade, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan Rose, Perfected Blue, and Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. Now, I'm not familiar with all of these. Back when I was watching, it was Super Saiyan and that was it. And that's what I'm saying. They added a lot. I didn't see. I stopped watching at some point when I was a kid, and I left it at that. But we can see that they have a lot more evolutions to them, and they kept increasing and waxing mightier to where they went from glory to glory to glory. And I'm relating this to us in the scriptures because we know that they take these things directly from the Bible and put a spin on it. And that's why people are so drawn to it, because there's some truth within it. And so the Saiyans are a very powerful race, just as the Israelites are. And the Israelites go from glory to glory, just like the Saiyans go from Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan. So I wanted to show the correlation there. Now let's keep going.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 19. Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men, which are in the city.
So these 10 men could be really strong in the flesh, but the scripture says wisdom strengthens the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. Imagine that. You might not be the most strongest brother, but you are wise and you are able to outsmart and defeat 10 people in the city. So one person being able to defeat 10, that's a great accomplishment. That's a great accomplishment. But you didn't rely on the flesh. You relied on wisdom paired with the flesh. Because you still have to use the body to perform the actions to overcome in the battle. So our wisdom comes from the scriptures. So we can see here in Ecclesiastes 7:19 that it is letting us know that these 10 men are not on the same level as this brother that is being strengthened through wisdom. His power level is on a whole nother level than these 10 other men. And so we have to learn how to utilize this to our advantage. Go ahead.
Sirach chapter 5 verse 15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small.
So in order to start to take advantage of wisdom, you have to not be ignorant. That means when you have an opportunity, take full advantage of it. If it's learning how to be a carpenter, go take advantage of it. If it's learning how to be a plumber, go take advantage of it. If it's learning how to complete an exercise better for the benefit of your body, go take advantage of it. If it's to learn how to eat healthier, go take advantage of it. If it's to learn how to be better in your finances, take advantage of it. If it's to learn how to be mightier in the scriptures, we have to take advantage of all these things that are within our lives that make up our day to day. Don't be ignorant. Don't slack. Don't wait. When those opportunities arise, you have to make sure that you're absorbing all of the information that you can possibly take in from it. And so if you don't, you would be ignorant in a great or a small matter. And that's to your detriment. That's how you stay stagnant. That's how you refrain from increasing. So we have to be aware of this and take full advantage of all of the opportunities that we have on a day to day and not neglect them, because you can be your own worst enemy when it comes to decreasing or even staying stagnant.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 3 verse 18. The greater thou art, the more humble thyself, and thou shalt find favor before the Lord. Verse 19. Many are in high place and of renown, but mysteries are revealed unto the meek. Verse 20. For the power of the Lord is great, and he is honored of the lowly.
Gone. So as your power level starts to increase, the more you have to humble yourself. And if you're able to do so, then you will find favor before the Lord. So he's going to see that he gave you some increase and you remained humble with it. And you remain humble. And so now the Father will show favor and he can let you wax even mightier. But if you wax mighty and then you get prideful and you start to boast and you're out of the spirit, why is he going to want to keep increasing you? You can't control that type of power you've been given. And so we can look at examples such as King David and Saul. King David, they were singing songs about him slaying 10,000s, and they were singing the song about Saul slaying thousands. And so they acknowledged the different power level on them too. Yet Saul was the king and David wasn't. So somebody can be in a higher position and be at a lower power level than someone that's raising up, right? The Most High is exalting somebody, raising them up. But there's a time and place. There's a time and place for everything. So you don't see David exalting himself and puffing up and trying to take the rulership, and he's not doing that with Saul. And Saul is literally trying to kill him. But David remains humble. He knows his place, and he's not going to, you see, the ones that can demonstrate strength really well are the ones that understand where they're at. Meaning, we see David was powerful, and the people acknowledged that he was more powerful than Saul. But we understand where the power source came from. It came from the Most High. And the people were just acknowledging how powerful David was. But David also understands the Most High has Saul set in place for a reason, and he's the anointed. And so just because your stats are higher in certain areas doesn't mean that you just get to go and take over. He had to wait his turn. He had to be patient. He had to humble himself and serve up under somebody that was literally trying to kill him. And he still had to have reverence because Saul was anointed by the Most High. And so David starts to wax mightier. And the more he waxes mightier, the more he continues to humble himself. And so that in itself has to be understood for your level of power to increase. There are things that if you can't understand and receive, you're limiting yourself. Those things haven't been unlocked yet. And so, Most High willing, if he unlocks those things and you recognize them, you can work at being better at those things, and that will help increase you overall. Right? There's several different characteristics within yourself that you have to work on, and in increasing in each one is going to help you be better overall. Verse 19 says, "Many are in high place and of renown." There's a lot of mighty brothers, but mysteries are revealed unto the meek. And that's what I was just talking about, having those things unlocked. You understand something that somebody else can't even receive, but because you were meek, you were humble, you were lowly. And so somebody can still wax mighty, be renowned, but you can understand something deeper. You have more potential than that other person because of what you understand, because of the wisdom that you possess. This is going to allow you to excel in power above others. But with that great power, you have to remain humble, and much is going to be required of you. For the power of the Lord is great. You have to understand your power comes from who? Comes from the Lord, and he is honored of the lowly. You got to give all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh.
Verse 21. Seek not out things that are too hard for thee, neither search the things that are above thy strength. Verse 22. But what is commanded thee, think thereupon with reverence, for it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret.
So when we first come into the truth, we shouldn't be trying to seek out things that are not obtainable at that moment. Just like if you went into do a bench press, you're not going to put 3 plates on each side right from the jump. If you're somebody that's 150 pounds, you're just not going to do it. That's going to be too hard for you. You put one plate, and start there and build your way up. Same thing in the truth. Don't go trying to learn the most secret, most controversial doctrine there is and think that you're just going to go and tackle it and understand it. Start with the milk. Start with the basics and train and build your way up from there. Neither search the things that are above thy strength. There's some things that you're just not ready for. When we go out and street teach, we don't go into certain things because that's above their strength. That's too much for them. We don't need to give that to them. They need the milk. They need the basics. They are babes and they have to be treated as so. And it's okay. We all have to start there at some point. I had to start there at some point. And I'm still weak in many aspects. And when I identify them, I have to work on them so that way I can become stronger overall. Work on those weaknesses so overall I am stronger. But what is commanded thee, think thereupon with reverence. That's going back to the basics. Reverence those basics. That's your core. That's your foundation. For it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret. Not everything is going to be revealed to us, and we have to understand that. So hold on to your core and be very strong with that. Increase in that. Wax mighty with it. Be very fluent with it. Become an expert with it.
Sirach chapter 8 verse 13. Be not surety above thy power, for if thou be surety, take care to pay it.
So if you're going to tell somebody that you're going to do something, you better do it. It could start out with something simple like, hey, let me help you put the groceries away. Okay, you better take care to pay it. Make sure you do it. Then as you start increasing and doing more for the body, you could be like, hey, I'm going to pay for a flight for you to come out here. And then when the time comes, the brother's like, hey, I'm ready to come out. And then you just drop the ball and don't pay for his flight. Don't help him book it. Don't help set up a place for him to come out and stay out here. You could drop the ball. You're mighty. You're a captain in the congregation, and you're capable of doing it, but you were surety above your power. You were overpromising something. And so if you overpromise, you better be able to make sure that you can handle it. Some brothers bite off too much. They take on too much. They feel they have something to prove. Don't be that brother. Acknowledge. I'll give you an example. When I go and work out at the gym, I'm not over there trying to show off and show everybody what I got. I don't care. I'll look like the weakest person in there, but I'm under control of everything that I'm doing, and I'm still getting a good workout. I don't need to show off to nobody. I don't want to overdo it, and now I'm hurt. Now I'm injured. Something bad happens, or I look like a fool, and I'm sitting there with the bar on my neck, like you see in some videos. You did too much. And so the scripture's saying, don't be surety above your power. You know your limits. It's good to test the limits, but if you're going to test them, make sure you can handle it. Don't go far above it to where now you're not walking properly. You're not performing as you should.
Sirach chapter 15 verse 1. He that feareth the Lord will do good, and he that hath the knowledge of the law shall obtain her.
So again, the source of our power comes back to the Most High. Fear him, and you will do good. You'll get that increase. And he that has the knowledge of the law shall obtain her. It's talking about wisdom. You're going to obtain it. You will obtain it, but you have to go and dedicate yourself to it. Dedicate yourself to these experiences. Don't be ignorant in them. Soak up everything like a sponge and receive it. Retain it.
Verse 5. She shall exalt him above his neighbors, and in the midst of the congregation shall she open his mouth.
So now wisdom is going to exalt you above your neighbors. That brother is on a different level. That brother got raised up. That's what exalt means, is to raise someone up. She shall exalt him. Wisdom is going to exalt you above your neighbors. Now again, it's one thing to be mighty with the book, chapter, verse, but then when it comes to the application of it, you fail. So this brother that's getting exalted above his neighbors, he's balanced overall. He's mighty in all aspects, not just in one field. This brother's raising up across the board. And in the midst of the congregation shall she open his mouth. It's going to show on that brother. That brother is going to be known. You're going to show that reverence to that brother for the work that he does. How important he is to his congregation, to his nation, to his family, to the Most High. There's respect that comes with that. Now, we're going to get into some accounts of our forefathers and showing that there were different levels of men amongst our forefathers.
2 Samuel chapter 23 verse 8. These be the names of the mighty men whom David had. The Tachmonite that sat in the sea, chief among the captains, the same was Adino, the Esnite. He lift up his spear against 800, whom he slew at one time.
So David had mighty men, and one of them, he was chief among the captains. He was number one. Who was that? Adino, the Esnite. He lifted up his spear against 800, whom he slew at one time. Now, my understanding of that was not just with one swing, but in one battle, he could slay 800 people with his spear. That's how mighty the chief of the captains was, serving under David, the chief of the captains. There was none mightier than Adino the Esnite, other than David himself. Verse 9.
Verse 9. And after him was Eleazar, the son of Dodo, the Ahohite, one of the 3 mighty men with David, when they defied the Philistines that were there gathered. together to battle, and the men of Israel were gone away. Verse 10, he arose and smote the Philistines until his hand was weary, and his hand clave unto the sword, and the Lord wrought a great victory that day, and the people returned after him only to spoil.
And after him was Eleazar. So after Adino was Eleazar. So what does that tell you? There was different levels. At the top of the class, at the top of the army was Adino. Then right after him, Eleazar, one of the three mighty men with David. So now it names three mighty men. They were singled out, these three. These three were above all the rest of the army. You have Adino, you have Eleazar, and then we're going to get the third in the next account. But we can see here, Eleazar, he smote the Philistines until his hand was so tired that it clave unto his sword. That means it was holding on, gripping real tight, and he couldn't even let go of his sword at the end of his battle. Literally, his hand was basically like glued to his sword. He couldn't even let go. That's how much work he was putting in with his sword. So Adino, Eleazar, and then we're going to get the third of the three mighty men.
2 Samuel chapter 23, verse 11. And after him was Shammah, the son of Agi, the Herite. And the Philistines were gathered together into a troop, where was a piece of ground full of lentils, and the people fled from the Philistines. Verse 12. But he stood in the midst of the ground, and defended it, and slew the Philistines, and the Lord wrought a great victory.
So the third of the three mighty men was Shammah, and he was battling with the Philistines, and they were gathered together in a troop, which means like in an army or a band of soldiers, where was a piece of ground full of lentils. So this was the food supply, and the Philistines are coming to take. Now we know in battle or in war that the food supply is a very important resource. And if you can take your enemy's food source away, the men cannot battle because they need the food to sustain themselves. And so Shammah understood this, and while the people fled from the Philistines, he stood in the midst of the ground and defended it and slew the Philistines, and the Lord wrought a great victory. Remember, I put major emphasis on where do we get our power from? It wasn't Shammah that won the victory. It was the Lord who had a great victory. Shammah was just used as a vessel. And so there are certain vessels that are going to be used in a more powerful way, just like Christ. We talk about stats. His stats was on 100 on everything. Very powerful vessel. The second most powerful ever, right behind the Most High himself. Now, in this GIF, I believe this is Goku's father Bardock. It reminds me of the account with Shammah, him standing in the field of lentils, and the Philistines coming up against him, and he's just having to defend it, having enemies all around, and he has to survive. He has to defeat the enemy. And he proves his strength in this battle. And so he is remembered as one of the three mighty men of David. It was Adino, it was Eleazar, and Shammah. All at different levels. Remember, Adino was the chief of the captains. He was number one on a whole nother level than the rest. But these three mighty men of David, they were emphasized. They were given much reverence. Now, verse 13.
Verse 13, and 3 of the 30 chief went down, and came to David in the harvest time unto the cave of Adullam, and the troop of the Philistines pitched in the valley of Rephaim.
3 of the 30 chief went down. We just seen who were the top 3, Adino, Eleazar, and Shammah. But we see that it gives reference to 30 chief. So it's letting you know there were 30 men that stood above the rest of the army. 30 men. Now, out of those 30 men, 3 stood above the rest of those 30. So you see different power levels within Israel, because we still have soldiers, we still got officers, but we're talking about the 30 chief. And then on top of that, we're talking about the 3 mighty men of David out of those 30. Different levels, different power that comes with those levels. But we've seen what it took to nurture that power. It takes wisdom, it takes knowledge, it takes meekness, it takes lowliness. It takes for you to be able to humble yourself. And so these men were exalted by the Most High. And when they had victory over the battle, the victory was of the Lord. We're just the vessels.
First Chronicles chapter 12 verse 38. All these men of war that could keep rank came with a perfect heart to Hebron to make David king over all Israel, and all the rest also of Israel were of one heart to make David king.
We see here that the children of Israel, they had men of war that could keep rank. Rank in itself is levels, just like the soldier to the bishop. There's ranks in between there. You have to be able to keep rank. That means have a reverence for it. Understanding how important it is for us to have men of Israel serving in those offices, and being thankful that the Most High is using that man to perform a good work. Think about Shema, right? We think about superheroes in the world and, oh man, amazing superhero, save the day. That's in the scriptures. Shema was a superhero. He literally stood up against the Philistines and defended our food source. He defended our crops. Was willing to lay his life on the line in order to defend what was ours. And so we have to give reverence to that. We have to have respect to that. We have to thank the Most High that he would use this man and to be so powerful, be so mighty, and to serve his nation as he did. And so we could help. If we're not at that level, we can learn from that person, and we can also help to assist that brother as well. We can, just like Joshua. Joshua came up under Moses. Joshua was out there laying down heathens left and right, coming and slaying whole cities. Where do you think he learned that from? He learned from Moses. So we have to come up under mighty men so that we can learn how to be mighty men. Look at Mattathias and his sons. Why do you think all those brothers were so mighty? Their power levels was unreal, but they learned from their father, Mattathias. He was a mighty man, slaying people on the altar that were wicked. So Israel, learn how to respect rank, learn to have reverence, learn to submit, learn to be a servant, and be thankful that the Most High is bringing increase to brothers around us.
Revelation chapter 7 verse 4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
We've seen power levels on the earth. David's 3 mighty men, the 30 chief, and then so on. But here we see that there is a hierarchy in the kingdom. We know that we have 144,000, 12,000 sealed from each tribe. Those are going to be some powerful, mighty men. 144,000, 12,000 from each tribe. Those people are set apart. Their power is on another level. But who's above them?
Revelation chapter 11 verse 16. And the 24 elders which sat before God on their seats fell upon their faces and worshiped God.
Now we see that there's 24 elders which sat before Yahweh on their seats. Do you get to choose whether you're one of those elders sitting up there? No. It's up to the Most High if he wants to give you that power. That's power just to sit on that seat with those elders, to be one of them. It's power to be one of the 144,000. It's power just to be the elect. It's power just to be Israel in general. But there's levels. And so we see 144,000. Now we see 24 elders. There's levels, but what's above the 24 elders?
1 Peter chapter 3 verse 22. Who is gone into heaven and is on the right hand of God, angels and authorities and powers being made subject unto him.
So this is talking about Christ. Christ has gone into heaven and he's at the right hand of Yahweh. Angels and authorities and powers being made subject unto him. You have to give reverence to Yahushua Mashiach's power. He is on another level. But who's above Christ? There's a power above all. I started it with this lesson, and I will be finishing with the Most High, of course.
Revelations chapter 19 verse 6. And I heard as it were the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunderings, saying, Hallelujah, for the Lord God omnipotent reigneth.
The word omnipotent means all powerful. It means that they're able to do anything. Unlimited power. We are limited to what the Most High will give to us. But the Most High himself is omnipotent. Unlimited. Able to do whatever the Most High pleases. The Most High is on a whole nother level, cannot even be reached. And so we see there are power levels, and we have to understand where we're at. And if the Most High is pleased to exalt us and increase us, we know how to receive it by staying humble, by staying meek, by not being prideful, not being boastful, but being like Christ. Christ was the King of Kings, yet he was a servant of servants. And so to whom much is given, much is required. And let's have respect and reverence for these levels of power and understand our role and our position at where we're currently at. And if the Most High is calling us to become greater, then count it all joy and take it on. But just know what you're getting yourself into. Because as I said, and the scripture says, to whom much is given, much is required. So if you're given more power, more is going to be required of you. Just like Christ. He was the second most powerful, right behind the Most High himself. Much was required of him. He had to be obedient unto death, even the cross. I thank Yahweh. I praise Yahweh for allowing us to bring forth this power level class. Assess yourself, see where you're at, and I hope that you can increase in wisdom and knowledge, in understanding, in faith, and that not just you, but as we say, Kwam Yasharallah. We want Israel to rise and to wax mightier in the spirit, and ultimately we are going to take the kingdom. And that's going to have to come with power. And so with that, Yasharallah, we say Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Bahashem, Yahushua,
Yahshai,
Rakatam. Shalom, Yasharallah.
The sky is dripping gold and wrapping around me. Life can be so wonderful, warm and gentle light. Nothing's gonna bring me down. I'm feeling so divine. Life can be so wonderful, warm and gentle light. Nothing's gonna bring me down. I'm feeling so divine.
Feeling divine, I'm feeling the vibes. I feel like it's more than just a feeling, what we could define. Let's break through the ceiling.